Okay guys, good evening YouTube. Welcome to this next episode of the FPL Family, episode number 36 of this season, episode 36. This is our Game Week 22 reaction video. It's a review video, not a preview video as I put in the title until I changed it about 10 seconds ago. I think Jeanette was on the live chat, so thank you Jeanette for pointing that out.
We have had quite a busy weekend, so you're forgiven for getting it wrong.
Yeah, just kind of setting up the stream as I was coming in here, wasn't I? So yes, thank you for pointing that out. This is a Game Week 22 review video, and yes, a lot going on, as ever. A hell of a lot going on in the Premier League this weekend, not least the game we've just seen. The game we've just seen, which of course we're not feeling too great about here in the FPL Family household, but it was a good game. Good game, wasn't it? Intense game.
It was an excellent game, and
United were good, weren't they? I mean,
United were good, but we were outstanding in that second half. De Gea was amazing. Like, De Gea of old, that good. Like, De Gea, why aren't you in my fantasy team good? Like,
after a few months of, I wouldn't call it stick, but after a few months of people giving him a little bit of, he's not the best in the world anymore. I think I don't know if he's actually lost his place to Kepa in Spain or whether it's a bit kind of between the two right now. That's the sort of performance you need. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I don't know how Harry Kane's not got any fantasy points, but it's David De Gea is the answer to that. I think.
It was, yeah. I mean, I normally sit here after a loss and feel a bit kind of peeved about the whole thing and get a bit annoyed, but actually, we were brilliant this afternoon.
Spurs were good second half.
I can't feel annoyed by it. I watched that game and thought we were good and we deserved something. I'm a bit annoyed that we didn't get anything out of it, but in terms of a performance and the way the boys fought.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we're going to digest that game. We're going to dissect that game in a bit more detail later on. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about what else happened. West Ham beating Arsenal at the London Stadium. Didn't see it coming, guys.
That's a bigger shock.
I must admit, this game week, and I think I said it on Twitter a couple of times over the weekend. It's like you can research the stats, guys. You can read all the articles. You can listen to all the pods. You can come and join us on FPL Family. You can log on to Scout and do all of that stuff. Read all the statistics about how many, XG underachievements Aubameyang's having and he should be scoring a hatful of goals and West Ham's defence is terrible and Balbuena's injured. You can read all of that.
But I think I did tell you not to get Aubameyang and to consider getting Nasri. So, maybe
you did not say Nasri. No chance did you say Nasri.
Should we go back to my notes from last week? Oh, look. Nasri
5.5 mil, 0.1%.
Looked good in his first game in the FA Cup. 2 hauls of 134 points while at Arsenal.
Well, there we go.
Just saying.
Okay. Just saying. And what about Arnie giving it the whole two-handed wave? It looked like he was saying goodbye.
Off to China, isn't he? He's gone for the money. He's greedy.
It sort of feels that way, doesn't it? I mean, look at him. He's, if you're going to quadruple your wages by moving to China, I'd move to China for quadruple my wages. Flipping heck, that's a lot of money in it.
Sounds like the FPL Family might be ending if Lee's moving to China.
FPL Family from China, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I've got to come too, have I?
Well, it's not really FPL Family without you, dear. Without you, it's just some bloke who's crap at FPL on a web stream.
I'm not sure I want to move to China. Like, it's a bit of a long way away.
It's a bit of a long way away. But for quadruple the wages, I would 100% I'll go wherever you want me to for quadruple the wages. So it looks like Arnie might be on his way. We'll talk about that.
His brother did say.
Well, and I think West Ham have got 3 out of the next 4 away from home or something. So the fact that he was
that's the last home game,
maybe. So listen, lots of games this game week where it didn't really go with this surprising statistical, you read all the stats and all the rest of it, and sometimes it just doesn't come off. We were expecting Brighton to be resilient against Liverpool, which they were. We'll talk about that a bit later on. And of course, we can't even talk about Manchester City because they're on tomorrow night against Wolves, which happens to be, I think it could be a pretty good game. Pretty good game.
The good thing is there is one game we can just ignore and pretend it didn't happen because literally nothing happened.
Cardiff versus Huddersfield, except for Etheridge owners, was a bit of a non-event, was it not?
Yeah, we'll just blank it out.
We will blank it out.
Sorry, Cardiff and Huddersfield fans. You've had your 5 seconds of fame.
In the meantime, let's say hello to a few people. So, guys, thank you for joining in on the live stream. Let's see who's in. Chris Spencer is in. How are you doing? FPL Goat, he's in. He says, what to do with Kane? And we will be talking about that in a bit of detail later on because it looked as if he picked up a bit of an ankle injury right, literally in the dying embers of that game. Got clattered, didn't he?
They've said that it's swollen and he needs a scan tomorrow when the swelling's gone down. So let's see.
The thing with Kane and
he's not going to go
ankle,
down in price tonight.
He's not, but the thing with Kane and an ankle is that it doesn't feel good, does it? Kane's got ankle history, and I don't like that.
None of it looked very good. Him on the pitch didn't look very good. Poch's comments after the game didn't sound very good.
Yeah.
But there is still, until somebody tells me he's out for 6 weeks, then I will cling to the fact that it's just swollen and hopefully he's back. But we'll get more news out of Spurs tomorrow. Okay,
Carry256 is here. How are you doing? He's saying he didn't get a notification for tonight. I don't think Andrew Yee did either. So guys, I don't know what the deal with that is.
Maybe explains why we had nobody for about 2 minutes.
It was a bit quiet for 2 minutes in here, wasn't it? A little bit quiet, and then a few of you joined. I think Jeff was in, a few others. But
thought the family had all divorced us.
Yeah, thought it was all over, guys. So I don't know what's going on with the notifications. Check that if you've hit that subscribe button, if you're an FPL Family subscriber, go and check that the little bell next to the subscribe button is... It's kind of look like it's got like 2 eyebrows if it's on, right? So you have the little bell and there's 2 little eyebrows. That means you'll get notifications.
Like it's ringing almost.
Yeah, like it's ringing, right? And if you want to turn the notifications off, you obviously press that and they go away, right? But and Andrew Martin didn't get a notification. Don't know, guys. I genuinely don't know what's going on with that, guys.
Tips are saying the same.
Yeah, we will have a look at that, guys. That will explain why there was 2
Did you break it?
2 minutes in and we had about 4 people in. I thought, goodness me.
Just Jeff.
They've given up on us. So what we'll do, I'll have a look at that, guys, but also just go and check that little notify bell is active on your YouTube. But the amount of people that are saying they didn't get one suggests that it's a problem our end rather than yours. So we'll have a look at that, guys. But thank you for joining anyway, even without the notifications. You guys that are following us on Twitter at FPL Family and on Instagram will have seen the notifications.
Yeah, and
so thank you.
I have to apologise to the Instagram and Facebook communities. I have been useless this weekend.
Not Instagramming
literally useless. I did one post yesterday and then one post today. I've been useless. I apologise.
All right, okay. Well, listen, for you guys that are here, thank you for joining. Carl Vineyard is here. Neil Craston, thank you for joining, Neil, and for your response to my polls tweet earlier. We've got a nice question from Neil coming up in a second. Kun Karam is here. New Patreon, Kun Karam, thank you for joining. And we will be doing a little Patreon update later on because we've now up to about 32 of you guys taking part in the February Manager of the Month competition coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So get onto Patreon and check us out, patreon.com/FPL Family. The link is in the description below. If you've not checked it out already, go check that out if you wouldn't mind. Christian Lee is here. How are you doing? FPL Nick says good day. Nick, if you're in Australia, good day. Hope you're well.
Good day. Happy Monday.
MU Fan TV, who I guess is in a very, very good mood. He's here. Aaron Chen, also a new Patreon. Aaron Chen, thank you for joining us, Aaron. Marcus and Steve Wynyard and Jim B and Jeff and Hannah Z, Peter Gray, and all sorts of you guys in this evening. So thank you very much for joining us. There is our Twitter on the left-hand side, at FPL Family. Before we get cracking into the games, and I think we got to start with Spurs first. I think we've got to start with Spurs and Man United first. Get it out of the way, dear. We'll get it. Just talk about it.
I'm not angry this one. Some games I'm angry. This one I'm not.
Well, actually, I know we subscribe very much to the football first philosophy here, but from an FPL perspective, it's delivered a few points for you that game. But clearly, from a Spurs perspective, it hasn't. But listen, we'll talk about that game in a second. Check out the little eye in the top right-hand corner. We've got some polls this evening. Thank you to everybody that responded to my tweet earlier with some poll questions. Quite a lot of questions about individual players tonight. Okay. So we've got 3 questions about individual players. One is Hazard, buy, sell or hold.
Okay.
The second one is Richarlison, buy, sell or hold. And the third one is Felipe Anderson, buy, sell or hold. And those come in from Matthew Rakundo is asking the question about Hazard. He's at Matt_Hugh. So thank you, Matthew, for sending that in. Neil Craston, the aforementioned Neil Craston, is talking about Richarlison, time to sell. So buy, sell or hold on Richarlison. And then Shady Z at ShadyZ13 says Felipe Anderson, keep him or sell him. So those are the 3 players I want your comments on, guys. And then the final question is actually something that I'm considering for next game week, and I'd like your opinion on it, is the Man United treble up. The Man United treble up, and I cannot believe we're sitting here talking about the Man United treble up, but I'm starting to wonder whether Rashford is an absolute must-have right now. An absolute must-have, and we'll get your view on that, guys, in the live chat in a second. Looks like great value, in great form, 7.3, maybe might be going up to 4 tonight. United with amazing fixtures. Somebody give me a reason not to treble up on Man United. And the double I've got right now is Pogba and Martial. and I'm thinking about bringing Rashford in as well for the next couple of weeks.
But correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're talking about having treble of 2 clubs, so 6 players from 2 clubs.
Yes, but those 2 clubs, I'm thinking about treble Liverpool and treble United.
Yeah, but 6 out of 15 from 2 clubs.
There's a lot of eggs in 2 very red baskets there. I'm with you.
Yeah, what is it? You're very red, aren't you, at the moment?
Very red. I don't think the treble up on Liverpool's too bad an idea, but
what other red could you do? You could get treble
Arsenal. Let's go treble
Just go
Southampton.
for all red. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, there we go. And a lot of you guys are already saying, wouldn't want a United defender. I agree with you on that, FPL Nick. Absolutely. Carry 256, Pogba and Rash. Forget Martial. Very tempted to forget Martial, Carry. You're absolutely right, but I want Rashford in. So the way that my team is structured, and we'll come to this a bit later on, guys, right? But unless I do hits, I'm either getting Rashford or getting rid of Martial.
Okay.
We'll talk about transfer strategy a bit later on because I've already spent quite a lot of time thinking about my strategy.
I thought you were going to say you've already spent points then. I was about to go mad.
This is the thing about having 2 free transfers. Now I know I've got 2 free transfers, it'll be on my mind the whole week. I won't be able to not be fiddling about with players, and in my mind I've already done Alonso to Trent. That's already happened, guys. I've had it with Alonso. God, I cannot wait.
Honestly,
to get rid of Alonso.
I am firmly in the camp of rolling a transfer every other week. It is working for me like an absolute dream at the moment.
Okay,
I think you need to get on that train.
Okay, well, I'm basically, according to most of the guys on Twitter, just copying you anyway. So it's working out. I'm on a green arrow at the minute, so I'm probably all right. MU Fan TV, Martial not essential. Tell him, Sam. He says, tell him.
I've told him already. I've told him.
FPL Chancellor Dan, how are you doing? Good evening.
I don't want him to get Rashford though, MU Fan TV, because he's my differential.
I know.
He's the one
good,
differential I've still got left.
He does look good. FPL Chancellor's in.
Copycat.
Dan, you're right. He's saying seems very dangerous to not own Pogba. Oh yeah, tell me about it. If it wasn't for Hugo Lloris, I think Pogba could have had a couple of goals actually this afternoon.
Yeah, Hugo Lloris and his nice save points for me. Thank you, Hughes.
Absolutely. And we will talk, Sean McGartland, about Son replacements as well. I did consider putting that in the polls, but I think we had that as a poll maybe last week or maybe last stream. So
we can talk about that though as a separate
We can definitely talk about that during the game.
Because what happened today with Sissoko impacts what I think about Spurs as a Son replacement.
Well, listen, let's. I think that is a perfect segue into where we need to go next. If I can sort my windows out, here we go.
Too many things open today.
Too many things open. Can't multitask. So there's the Twitter as you know and love. Here are the games, and I do need to zoom in on those for a little bit to make them a bit bigger for you. Glasses time. Get those specs on.
Oh, they're clean tonight.
So here we go. Spurs 0, Manchester United 1. No idea how Spurs didn't score in that game. But talk to me about not only Son replacements, but also the impact of Sissoko missing, right? Because Dembele looks as if he's potentially on his way. He's been touted as a bit of a move to go out there. I don't think it's done yet.
No.
But he is coming back from injury. So first question, I guess, is does the Sissoko injury potentially mean that Dembele doesn't go? Or
no?
Just give us a general monologue for the next couple of minutes on your Spurs feelings after today's game.
All right, so let's start with Sissoko and then lead into Son, because they do come hand in hand. Strangely, they come hand in hand. So the Sissoko thing's really interesting for me because, it wasn't that many months ago that us Spurs fans were all basically trolling Sissoko and and Pochettino, to his credit, has always seen something in him that we don't see as fans. But yet, he's become an absolute rock for us in that mid. Now, with Sissoko's injury, which does look quite bad, given that he tried to come back on and then immediately got injured again, it'll have an impact on that midfield, because obviously he is alongside Harry Winks. Although even Harry Winks was getting forward today. The cats I don't know what they're doing.
Playing with something down the hallway.
So alongside Harry Winks, they are the holding defenders who are allowing Eriksen and Dyer and Eriksen and Dele Alli and Son and Kane to do their thing. Now, with Sissoko injured, that gives us a massive problem because we don't have a natural replacement. Now, there's Ollie Skip, but bless him, he's not had a first team start.
But he was on the bench tonight, and Pochettino decided to took Sissoko off for Lamella.
Yeah.
So how did that affect the shape?
Well, I think there was 2 reasons for that, though. Right, there was the fact that we needed more attacking prowess in that game. We didn't necessarily need to defend; we needed to attack. So I suppose there's that to consider in that transfer. But I think basically what we've seen is that without Lamela being there, we'll see Eriksen sitting deeper, which
I think that actually happened during the game. We saw that, yeah.
And it was if you notice when Sissoko went off and Lamela came on, that is what Eriksen was told. He was told to sit deeper. Lamela went forward, and then Harry sat a little bit deeper as well.
Sure.
Now, obviously, for the next game against Fulham, that's going to change again slightly because Son will be gone. Lamela, I fully expect, will start in Son's place. So
wide or behind Kane?
Behind Kane,
okay.
I imagine that's where he prefers to play.
Okay.
However, if Kane is injured, then we've got a massive problem because it will have to be probably Llorente because it looks like Mora's still going to be injured. So
and Son would potentially go in there with Kane injured, but of course he's not around
he's
either.
Not around, so I would imagine then it's going to be Llorente, and therefore we will need Lamela to be central. We can't have him out on the wing because Llorente's not.
That would make me really worry as a Spurs fan, and potentially if I was holding any of the Spurs midfield assets like Eriksen or Ali, that would make me worry that in front of Eriksen and Ali is going to be Lamela and Llorente.
Well, we have to wait and see what happens with Kane. But I mean, Lamela, of those three, I mean, before I was talking about Eriksen. If you're going to pick a midfield to replace Son from Spurs, I'd go Eriksen. Having seen now the injury to Sissoko, I would be more inclined to go for Lamela over the other two because I think Lamela will sit furthest forward of those three.
Yeah.
If Sissoko's injury is, as expected, substantial.
And what do you make of that? And let's just talk about the Kane injury. And by the way, guys, I'm no expert in injuries whatsoever. Go and follow Ben Dinnery on Twitter if you want a footballing injury expert. But I have had ankle injuries. I've got a very...
Oh my gosh, Lee's got terrible ankle.
I've got a terrible left ankle, and I do know a little bit about the makeup of an injury for an ankle. The one thing I was actually encouraged to see was that Kane walked off the pitch. Now, why am I encouraged by that? Because if he can't bear weight on that ankle, if he had to be carried off or stretchered off, that is a massive problem. Because that is ligament tears and stuff. It's not that, because he's managed to walk off the pitch. I know he's limping, but the swelling that he's got on the ankle is presumably because of previous injuries, right? He'll have a lot of scar tissue in that ankle. Now, listen, like I say, I'm not an expert, but for me, I'd be encouraged in the way that Kane went off.
And it was an impact injury. He didn't roll his ankle. It's an impact injury.
Yes.
So
because his foot was in the air when it got hit by the United player, right?
It's not on the ground and it's been taken out. He's not rolled it. He's not, so from that point of view, it's if you're gonna get injured, being injured in that way is better than your standing foot being taken.
If he'd gone over on it, that would have been particularly bad.
But from the word that is coming out of Spurs at the moment, it's just that it is very swollen, so they don't know anything. But he has walked off the pitch, and he is on social media, so I don't think he's in huge amounts of pain.
Oh, he's posted on social media.
He's been on social media since the game, yeah.
Okay, I noticed that they were saying on Sky Sports News just as we were coming on that he had to go for a doping thing after the game, which is obviously nothing sinister, but poor guy, he's got an ankle injury. Last place you want to be is in there. You want to be in the physio room.
Yeah.
So listen, you need to, guys. We need to all stay on Ben's timeline on Twitter. We need to keep an eye on the news and try and understand what the extent of that injury is.
And I think given the situation with Spurs at the moment, with Son leaving, the Spurs fan community will be incredibly anxious to find out what's going on with Kane. So word will come out of Spurs fairly quickly on that, I would expect.
Okay, all right. And let's see, there's a couple of nice comments here from you guys. So Notorious Nerd, thank you for joining. Kane can't be risked ahead of that second leg versus Chelsea. So
that is 100% true. And it's Fulham.
So Steve Wynyard is saying Fulham next, so potentially rested. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It depends. Look, Kane doesn't get rested. He doesn't miss a whole game. Unless he is injured. So if Kane is injured, he'll miss out. If he's not injured, he'll play some part in that game. I'm sure of that. All
right. And I think that... So Thomas Delmont is on as well. Kane did roll his ankle, got kicked as well. So I need to have another look at that to see exactly what happened. But a lot of you guys are already talking about replacements. The FPL GOAT is saying Kane to Higuain already.
Higuain has not even got in the game yet.
Not even in. He's not even here.
He hasn't even signed a contract yet. It's Kane to Aguero if it needs be.
And Posty76, which is a great name by the way. He or she is saying won't need Kane for Fulham. They'll score for you. 2 own goals for Fulham this weekend, by the way.
Yeah. And how do you get an own goal and get a bonus point? I'm still baffled by this. The guy scores an own goal and still got a bonus point.
Who's
this
that?
Odie bloke. Odie. How does that happen?
He scored an own goal and got a bonus point.
Yes.
Has that ever happened before in FPL?
I don't know, like Wan-Bissaka. How do you get no clean sheet and get bonus points?
Wan-Bissaka's just a legend, isn't he? He's just a legend. 3 bonus points and he's lost 2-1. Absolutely beastly. Enough about Spurs. We need to keep an eye on Kane, of course. Manchester United, though, are right now the perfect blend of form and fixtures, are they not? I mean,
yes, absolutely.
I'm considering the treble up. I think the double up looks absolutely on, and I think what Dan was saying before, FPL Chancellor, about Pogba being essential, I just think you have to have him right now. He looks absolutely off the chain, doesn't he? He's absolutely on fire.
I think you're on the wrong double up though, dear.
Well, yes, and that's historical, right? Because I had Martial before United were good. I had him back in the Mourinho days because he was coming back from injury, and I thought, well, their fixtures look pretty good. Even with Mourinho, he was looking reasonably clinical.
And he was playing.
And he was playing, right? And he was playing. So I thought, well, I'm gonna stick on Martial, but I'm also going to bring in Pogba to complement him. And because of that, it's a bit warm. Yeah, it's a bit warm. And because of that, I thought, well, I'm not getting Rashford as a treble up. But now, I mean, the fixtures look amazing. Now that Spurs game is out of the way, which of course we expected to be difficult for them, and it was. The treble up could be on. Now, long term, I agree with what Carry256 is saying. I don't think I want Martial as part of that treble up. Of the 3, probably he's one that's going to go. And I noticed a comment on the live chat a second ago saying in the game week where City have got a blank, which I think is 28, Liverpool are playing Manchester United. Now, I haven't checked that to see if that's the case.
Oh my God, you'll have 6 players in one game.
Well, quite. In a game week where, you'll be struggling to get, you might be struggling to field an 11, or you might have a few gaps in your team anyway. You don't want 2 teams playing each other.
And that wouldn't necessarily be terrible if they were 6 attacking players, but you're talking about having 2 Liverpool defensive players, aren't you?
Yes, I'm considering the Trent Alexander-Arnold in for Alonso move that I think half the world is considering. Yeah, absolutely. So talk me through Manchester United. Any thoughts on their defence? Or I still don't think I want to go there with the defence. I still don't trust them. I mean, Spurs could have scored a hatfield today were it not for the keeper, right? Were it not for David De Gea. So I think we should be focusing on the double up top.
I think so. I think defensively, take nothing away from Man United today. They got a clean sheet against a Spurs team that have been on great form in terms of attacking prowess so far this season. But that was mostly thanks to some absolute worldy saves from David De Gea. And I don't think Luke Shaw or any of those guys can actually take any credit for that defensive.
I think Luke Shaw got a couple of bonus points in the game there, right? Or
yes,
maybe 1.
He got 2. But you can't... I just don't think that any of that matters.
Okay.
If it wasn't for De Gea. I think for me, there's 2 Man United players that you have at the moment. It's Rashford and it's Pogba.
Yeah, and I noticed Pogba actually was joint second for shots this game week with 6. Only Kane with 7 actually got more. And that tells you everything you need to know about that game. It was Pogba versus Lloris. It was Kane versus David De Gea.
And actually both keepers really won, didn't they?
And actually both keepers come out on top, absolutely right. And I think Pogba even picked up a booking towards the end of the game because... It was a bit of he was frustrated, wasn't he? I think with his inability to get on the score sheet potentially. So yes, I agree with you. Pogba and Rashford definitely the ones to look at from a United perspective. Lingard again went off a bit early, same as Martial went off early. So I think they're in the second tier of United targets potentially, but Pogba and Rashford very much up there.
Yeah, I think my kind of worries and concerns about Lukaku and Sanchez, what the last couple of game weeks has told me is that it's not Rashford and Pogba. Well, I never thought it was going to be Pogba, but it's not Rashford who's going to lose out to enable those guys to come back. It seems to be that it's Martial's minutes that are cut short.
Yeah, and I noticed that the interviewer was interviewing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after the game, and he was talking about the goal and how good it was and the movement and stuff, and he was talking about how Jesse Lingard moved it from a defensive phase to an attacking phase, and the ball from Pogba was amazing. And he was talking about how it was Rashford's pace on that counter-attack that made that goal, and how that pace is so important for his side.
Well, Lukaku's got none, has he?
Well, if he's going to make comments like that, guess who he's going to stick with? And it's been coming out of the camp over the last few days about how important Rashford is to that side. I just think he's going to stick with him, and if that's to the detriment of Lukaku, regardless of how much Lukaku's paid or they paid for him at the time, forget it. If he doesn't fit the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentality, which it doesn't look like he does in terms of pace through the middle, Rashford is nailed on and looks absolutely essential right now. So I think he is going to come in for me over the next few weeks, if not this week.
Great. I look forward to that.
So there we go. Spurs versus Manchester United. A lot to discuss in that game. A lot to discuss. Equally, West Ham 1, Arsenal 0. Let's cast our minds right back to Saturday lunchtime where Arsenal went to the London Stadium and didn't get a result. Did not get the result we were expecting. And actually, I was very surprised that he didn't start with Torreira. And actually against that midfield three, which we know is reasonably strong for West Ham, Rice is a player that I like a lot. Hope he chooses to be English in terms of his nationality at the international level. I really like him. And I actually thought Felipe Anderson, despite not getting any FPL returns, had a very, very good game and got into some nice positions. So value for their win, I think, West Ham.
Felipe Anderson, I think, is a real frustration to me at the moment because for the last few game weeks I've been pondering on him, and then I watch the game or catch the highlights on Match of the Day, and he looks good.
Anderson.
Yeah. He's driving the play and he's really involved in what's going on, but he's not providing any fantasy points at the moment. Or he does like something. So the last time he had real fantasy points was in that brace the other Monday night, and then since then it's been 2s and 3s. Which is frustrating as an owner because I look at him and I think, yeah, actually you could have done a hell of a lot better from an FPL point of view than you did. I think actually you played very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was greatly surprised by this result, this West Ham result. We weren't expecting, I don't think either of us really, that West Ham would get anything from that game. I think I fully expected Arsenal to get something.
And I'm going to get your thoughts on Fabianski in a second as well. But before we do, I've got to give a shout out to FPL Tips, who has super chatted us again. Thank you, FPL Tips, for your regular super chatting. As we always say, guys, not a prerequisite for being here, but we love you to support the stream. So thank you, Tips, for doing that. He is a Patreon supporter now. He's a Patreon as well, FPL Tips. So thank you for doing that with us as well.
He sends us so many super chats. He might as well be a Patreon.
What a legend.
Win himself a shirt if he's doing well.
He is saying Kane's injury is very annoying, but we'll have to wait 50 from 9. Sterling, captain, and Sané to come for him. So that's not in a bad position there, Tips, with a couple of decent players to play.
Particularly when your captain's got to come.
When your captain's got to come in. I'm a patron now, and everyone else should be. Bless you, Tips, for saying that.
Tips,
love as always. So big love to FPL Tips, one of the new patrons that we'll be talking about in just a second. So Tips, thank you very much for that. Good luck for Sterling, captain, and Sané in the game tomorrow, mate. Good luck with that.
Not too much luck, though.
No, not too much
because we don't have them.
We got a title to win, do you know what I mean? And we haven't got them in FPL. So give us your thoughts on Fabianski. I happen to think, and I benched him this week, guys, which is obviously a bit disappointing. Foster, I played thinking that actually he was the lesser of two evils, actually, because I did not expect Arsenal to blank at West Ham. So I played Foster. He got the 4, so, okay with that. Missed out on the Fabianski 9, but I kind of stand by my decision. I don't, I look. We had this live stream. I've been looking at all the stats. Everything pointed to West Ham struggling against Arsenal there, and Arsenal coming up and doing a job with probably Aubameyang scoring. So it was a surprise result. So I kind of stand by my Fabianski benching. If you played him, fair play. But I didn't see it coming.
I told quite a lot of people to get rid of Fabianski this week. Which wasn't great, was
That's
it?
not a great
idea.
Yeah. But West Ham are so hot and cold right now.
Well,
Do you not think they're so hard to predict, West Ham?
My issue with West Ham is this: defensively, they've been pretty poor of late.
That's what we're saying.
And they're coming up against a real mixed bag of fixtures coming up. Where if you're holding a West Ham attacking asset, which I am in Felipe Anderson, you kind of look at that and think, well, that you can still get attacking returns against these teams like Arsenal. They've not been that solid defensively, so there's potential to score in that game, which is true. It's what happened. But I just did not expect, particularly without Balbuena, I did not expect that result to come. I did not expect a clean sheet. And so a lot of people were saying, I want to downgrade one of my keepers to get on Gaeta, who we can talk about later.
Oh, yeah, if you did Fabianski to Gaeta this week, guys, that is super, super unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were in the same position as you, and they had Foster and Fabianski, and they decided that actually what they wanted to do was do Gaeta for one of them, keep the other ones. They had sort of one middling decent keeper, and then a cheapy option who's also playing. And I said of the two, I felt that Foster was a bit more likely to keep clean sheets because the Watford back line is more solid, or it has been, than the West Ham one.
Do you think there's a worrying trend now for Arsenal in terms of away matches? I was just reading as I came on that actually, I haven't got the exact stats, but they seem to be travelling not so well lately. Is there a bit of a problem there?
Potentially, and I think also potentially an issue when Lacazette and Aubameyang, I don't know. I don't feel like Aubameyang is anywhere near the money that he is in FPL at the moment. From an FPL point of view, he's not.
Before the West Ham game, his stats suggested that he was.
But has he got
XG? And so
forget
I know.
Forget the XG. Look at what he's been doing. Yeah, okay. Nothing that he's done. I mean, this is what I've been saying to you for weeks now. When you were talking about getting Aubameyang, nothing that he's done. He hasn't done anything. So why would you be getting him? Yes, I know that there's expected goals and all of that malarkey, but basically what it's telling you is that he's just wasteful and useless.
Well, there's a couple of things that I and I'm not going to call out Unai Emery. Who am I to call out Unai Emery? But I just think he's got such a nice but awful problem there with Lacazette and Aubameyang, because whenever he feels the need to play Lacazette, which I guess with a player of that quality, and he has undoubted quality, Lacazette, he has to play him centrally because Lacazette can't play wide. So then he shifts Aubameyang left. That makes him less effective. He probably doesn't like playing out there. He prefers to be the main man, as we've seen, because when Aubameyang is the main man at number 9, in that number 9 position, he scores and he does very, very well. So putting him out left doesn't work. The second thing that I don't think he did well is not start Lucas Torreira. If you don't start Torreira, and he's not starting Ozil either, but for whatever reason, tactical or injury or whatever, there's that. He just lacks something in the middle of the park there for Arsenal. Not playing Torreira, I think, was a mistake for Unai Emery at the weekend. And it wasn't until he came on, I think on about the hour mark, that Arsenal started to click and Aubameyang started to find some space and get some chances. And there was some creativity there behind him. Well, because I think he really dropped the ball there, Unai Emery. I really do.
Because Torreira, he's the engine of that team, really. He's the one he's the creative mind in that midfield. He's almost doing the job that like Sissoko has been so good at doing for us. Like he's moving the players around, he's creating the opportunities. So why over the last few weeks Aubameyang has had the amount of opportunities that he has because of the work that's going on before the ball gets to him. I totally agree with you. I think not playing him is a total disaster for Arsenal. I don't think they look anywhere near as good as when he's playing, and you could see that the change when he came on.
So your view on Aubameyang is because he's not getting the service. It's not happening behind him. It's more than his performance himself.
Well, no, I think there's two issues with Aubameyang. I think one, the service isn't great when Torreira's not on the pitch. I think Torreira creates something within the Arsenal team that means that they're lacking when he's not on the pitch. Okay. But I also just think that Aubameyang, for whatever reason, is not performing at the level that you would expect for the kind of money that you would be paying for him in FPL. You look around and you...
Well, listen, he scores... He's one of the top scorers in the league, isn't he? He's getting points after... I mean, a couple of weekends ago, he was essential.
But no, he wasn't. He was essential to you. You were saying he was essential. Right, I don't think he's been essential at all yet, Aubameyang.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, he was the top FPL point scorer just a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people transferring him in. But listen, we will move on.
I think perhaps because of the fixtures that people were anticipating that he would do much better than he has.
Okay, we'll move on from Arsenal and Aubameyang. We'll agree to disagree on that one. West Ham, though, Nasri... popped up with a little assist. Now, listen, he's not going to be playing against his old team every week, and I think that kind of maybe was part of the reason he put in a good performance and a good shift at the weekend. Historically a good player, isn't he? So to come in at FPL at 5.5 into that West Ham side, is he just another Snodgrass? People were saying, Snodgrass was good for a couple of weeks and now he's back on the bench. Is Nasri one of those, or do we think we've got a player here?
He potentially is another Snodgrass, potentially. I think, though, at 5.5... Nasri in that 5th midfielder spot is certainly worth a shout. I think there's a couple of them now that are in that bracket. There's Punchin and there's Nasri, who potentially could be good FPL enablers in that fifth spot. Okay. I think Nasri's going to play for West Ham. I don't think he's going to sit on the bench at West Ham.
He's in the same sort of bracket as Fraser, though, isn't he? I still like Fraser, and I still like the sort of Camarasas if you want to go a bit cheaper. I
don't know. There's something reassuring about Nasri, and I guess that's because he has Premier League pedigree. It's not like a brand new player coming to the Premier League and it's a bit of a punt, Yeah. We've seen him before. We know what Nasri is capable of from his days at Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Anas Salah is saying Brooks is still the best 5th midfielder, and we're going to talk about him in a bit as well, because I think he was a bit unlucky not to get on the score sheet today as well. FPL Ginger Ninja is saying Camarassa's injured, though. Yeah, he seems to be a bit in and out, doesn't he, Camarassa? He's kind of 75% flagged the whole time, to be honest with you. What else is being said? There's a couple of nice points in there. Adam Warswick is talking about Punchin. Punchin had bad fixtures. Yeah, we don't really want to talk about Huddersfield Cardiff very much, other than to say Punchin started. don't know if he did well or not, to be honest, because, to be honest, I went to bed before that come on Match of the Day, that game. But
yeah, we were like, what's left? Oh, Cardiff Huddersfield. Let's go to bed.
But listen, at 4.2, if he's going to start, what more do you want? A starter at 4.2 is good. If that's your strategy, is to go 3 big up top.
Not just that, he's an absolute legend.
He's an absolute legend, but
we'll
go with he starts and he's 4.2.
He's almost in Rondon territory. Hero.
Mafio Soul is saying he's a flash in the pan, Nasri. He's a flash in the pan. Well, listen,
maybe.
I think we've got to wait and see. But listen, if he is going to be an option, then at 5.5 he's going to be a pretty good one. Potentially a pretty good one. Well, let's see. Where do we go next? Let's talk about Burnley and Fulham. Do we need to go there other than, no Joe Hart and Burnley win again? Shock. The Schürrle goal was good, wasn't
Burnley win again without scoring a goal.
Yeah, it's weird, wasn't it? Weird game. Fulham, as ever, awesome strike from Schürrle, but then 2 own goals. I mean, what are they playing at?
And a back for him. So
yeah, I don't want to talk about those guys.
Let's move on.
I don't want to talk about those guys. Let's talk about Chelsea then, because a lot was put into a lot of faith was kept with Eden Hazard going into that game. Blanked over the last few game weeks, and people were kind of, maybe this was the last chance for him to give us something against Newcastle, and it just didn't really go for him again, did it? He looked like the creative spark again. He looked like the most dangerous player. Popped up with an assist, so it's not the end of the world for his owners, but again, we go back into this same rhetoric about, is he captainable? Is he reliable enough? And I foresee quite a few people getting off of him this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm really struggling with Hazard at the moment. I was just looking back to, because, of late, Chelsea have had nice fixtures. So what did we have? Southampton, Newcastle.
Palace they've played, yeah.
Palace, Leicester. So they've had decent fixtures over the last few weeks. And in that time, Brighton, in that time where you would expect Hazard to be scoring goals. Now, for me, this is less about Hazard. It's almost a bit like Aubameyang, right? It's actually less about Hazard and more about the rest of the Arsenal team, the rest of the Chelsea team, in that I don't trust Chelsea at the moment. I don't feel like, because they haven't got a striker, there isn't that goal threat. And I think Hazard is a better player when they've got a decent striker around him. He seems to get in better position, so assist potential is more. He seems to score more goals.
So Florin Sandu is saying 10 goals and 10 assists for Hazard this season. Come on, what are we worrying about? He's just a bit of a blip in form.
Maybe, but we have this with him all the time, is that he's a real streaky player, and it's like essential, rubbish, essential, rubbish. So it's getting on and off of him.
He's a streaky player, then you're saying?
Yeah, it's getting on and off of him at the right points. And I wonder whether actually a lot of people have held Hazard over the last few games because Chelsea have had such nice fixtures, but Hazard hasn't returned in the way that you would want for that level of investment.
Yeah, well, I think all eyes on the transfer window, I think, for Chelsea, isn't it? I think if they can bring in a striker of half-decent pedigree, then good. I mean, that puts him back in the position he wants to play, but as an FPL asset, I think we prefer him up top, don't we? That's where he tends to get most of the points.
Do we?
I think we do as well. Statistically, that's where he gets the most points, I think, is the false nine Hazard. But if they bring in a striker, he's back where he prefers to play. He's cutting in from the left-hand side. Maybe enjoys his game a bit more.
I think Chelsea score more goals when they're playing with a proper striker, and therefore there's more assist potential, surely, from Hazard.
Well, I think Scott Schrager, thank you for joining, Scott. He agrees with you. He's saying Hazard needs help. He can't do it all himself. And I think that is the underlying challenge with them right now, is that they seem to be very, very keen to get the ball to Hazard, Chelsea, of course, their best player. But with a kind of, on you go, Eden, you go and do it and win us the game yourself. He needs some support up there. I've seen Julian Bennett posting in the live chat about 75 million for Wilson. I've seen numbers like that fly around for Wilson. Phenomenal money for Callum Wilson. But if you put the money to one side, I think he'd be quite a good signing for them, I think Wilson would be quite a good signing, but the smoke seems to have died down. The fire seems to have died down on that, and the fire seems to be up on Higuain right now, or maybe even Edison Cavani. It doesn't look as if they're going to get Callum Wilson.
I think they need to get somebody. I'm at this stage. I'm not sure it actually matters who they get, as long as they get somebody who's a decent striker and a proper goal scorer.
Okay.
It's just that whatever happens with Morata is not going to be positive from now on in. He's lost the faith of the fans. I think he's lost his faith in himself at Chelsea, quite frankly. So he needs to go, and they just need a replacement. And I think if I was a Hazard owner, I would hold Hazard still, even now, on the basis that if Chelsea sign somebody over the next couple of weeks, Hazard will become a better fantasy asset.
I think you're right, but I still think I would want to have a look. I think I would still not jump on Hazard if Higuain comes in.
Get on him now, but if you had him,
okay. And I think if somebody like Higuain came in, I'm not entirely sure that is the right sort of signing for Chelsea. It might be a good temporary signing, and maybe that's all they need, right? They just want him. I was speaking to actually your dad today, and he's a Chelsea fan, big Chelsea fan. He was talking about the fact that if Higuain comes in on a 6-month loan, there is some clause in the terms that say that there is a compulsory purchase of Higuain for 35 million in the summer. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen any news on it. But if that's the case, then that is something Chelsea would want to avoid, in my opinion. You don't want to be buying somebody who will be, I think, 31, maybe 32 in the summer. What has been a very good striker in the past, I think I was looking at some stats. In the 15-16 season, he scored something like 36 in 34 games for Sarri in Italy. So it's not like he doesn't understand the Sarri ball system. But I just think playing age 27 in Serie A is very different to playing age 31, 32 in the Premier League.
Not Premier League tested, right? So,
and I don't think it would be the right sort of signing. What we're trying to say by that, so is Higuain coming in going to affect Hazard positively as an FPL asset? Yes or no?
I think anybody coming in that's a decent
striker than Morata.
is a positive impact on Hazard. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
I actually don't think it matters who they get, as long as they get someone who can put the ball in the back of the net.
Okay, still a tough one. And MU Fan TV, Chelsea is the graveyard for strikers.
It does seem to be, doesn't it?
It feels a bit like that. Josh 96, Higuain is Shevchenko 2.0. I must admit, guys,
I love that comparison.
I really don't think Higuain would be a very good signing for Chelsea fans. But I'd be interested to see what you think, Chelsea fans. Let us know in the live chat. Comment below.
Should we move on to Alonso while we're at
Yes,
Chelsea?
go for it. So you and I both own Alonso. I know we've got a lot of Alonso owners in the live chat. You're happy to keep. I am very, very happy to sell. Oh, you're turning.
I don't know. I don't know what to do, honestly, about Alonso. I kind of, in the same way that I think Hazard owners have done over the last few weeks, I've held on to Hazard. I've held on to Alonso because I keep looking at these fixtures and thinking, normally Chelsea keep a clean sheet against the likes of Southampton and Newcastle, and so fine. And then when they're keeping a clean sheet, there's potential for attacking returns from Alonso because he is that kind of defender. But I've watched over the last couple of weeks his price and my team value just drop every few days.
I'm starting to lose on him now as well. Yeah,
and we're down to like 6.7, I think he is now in the game. And so now I'm kind of thinking, well, I've only really got 2 more drops till I'm back where I bought him. So do I stick, or actually am I better off to look at another FPL asset? Because there's lots of good defensive options out there at the moment, and there's a lot of good defensive options in teams that I don't have at the moment. So like I'm covered for Spurs because I've got Luis. I'm covered for Liverpool. Do I want another one? Well, maybe.
I think the Alonso out, there's so many routes out as well because he's that expensive.
Exactly.
If you haven't got Digne right now, I think he looks very, very good indeed, despite a couple of blanks in previous weeks. Before that, he got the 17-pointer with the 2 goals, got an assist and a clean sheet, I think a 12-pointer today. Seems to be in the bonus points as well whenever he does something. So you can't argue with Digne. You've got to think about Trent Alexander-Arnold as well.
There's, as Josh said last week, there's Pereira thinking about with the Leicester fixtures moving forward. There's a few options out there that you can kind of get to.
There's plenty. And even within the Chelsea squad themselves, David Luiz.
David
Luiz looks an option, right? His ability to pick a pass against Newcastle, not just against Newcastle, but recently is very, very good. He picked the pass for Kante against Palace that won him the game. Picked the pass again against Newcastle during this game week. So I think he looks really, really good, David Luiz. it gets a bit of stick from the Chelsea fans sometimes about his ability to defend. But as an FPL asset, we're looking for assists, we're looking for forward play, right? So
I think the other thing with Alonso is that up until now, I've always been kind of wary of getting off of him because the value in him was so high that I was concerned that if I got rid of him and then he went on this amazing run again, it'd be hard to get him back in. But now it's not hard to get him back in.
Sure.
So it opens it up again.
Okay, all right. We've had a super chat from Steve Wynyard. Steve, thank you for joining this evening. He's saying, I don't like Higuain. I don't like him. I've seen him for Argentina and he's Morata 2.0. Goodness me.
No.
Goodness me.
Not another Morata.
He misses a lot, apparently. Goodness me.
Oh, Christ.
Well, listen, I think the underlying feeling there is that Chelsea needs something. But I'm with you guys. I'm not entirely convinced that Higuain changes a lot.
I actually do think that Callum Wilson is the best one I've heard of being linked with them at the moment.
I think he would be the one,
but
if any. Yeah. And
I don't know how injured he is.
And do Bournemouth want to sell? Do they need to sell? I don't even think they need to sell, right? So it's difficult.
I don't think they need the money, but they have got a wealth in that area, haven't they? With Stanislas and King and Wilson.
All right, so listen, before we move on to Liverpool, and we've got to talk about Watford as well for our customary 42 seconds.
Is Joe even here? I think he was on a plane.
So he's here, he's landed, he says, in Abu Dhabi Airport. So he's there right now. And
that's why I'm getting on a plane. I was most jealous.
And he's tuned in just because he's expecting the 42 minutes.
42 minutes?
Steady on. The 42 seconds on Watford. We are going to talk about that in just a second.
42 minutes of Watford.
Before we get to Liverpool, Watford and Everton and a few other teams, before we get to our teams, of course, let's talk about the new Patreons for this month. Not even this month, this week even. This week. So this is even...
Since Thursday?
This is since Thursday, guys. Since Thursday. So there's been a phenomenal response to this, guys. And I want to thank you for everybody that's getting involved with this. We mentioned on our stream last Thursday that we had something like 20 or 21 patrons already signed up to our Manager of the Month competition for February. And that seemed to resonate with you guys on Thursday because we had another 10 or so of you guys signed up, maybe even more than that, 12 I think, sign up in the last few days. So that's absolutely phenomenal. So guys, as ever, you've heard me pitch this already a couple of times, patreon.com/FPLFamily. By pledging a few quid a month to us, you'll be doing two things. One is supporting FPL Family, which of course we love you to do. It means we can do bigger and better streams going forward into next season, etc. But number two is you'll be entered into our Manager of the Month competition, where we will have a mini league starting game week 25, which is the first game week in February, ending game week 28, which is the last game week in February. And even if you're having a bad season, even if things are going terrible, right? So this is why I'm absolutely involved, because I want to win my own prize. We're that bad a season.
I don't think you can win your own prize.
I can't win my own prize. No. That's not how this works.
But I can be in the league, I just won't win the prize, right?
You can be in, yeah, you will, because the patrons want to compete with you, right? I mean, up into... We're going to talk about your overall rank in a minute. We're going to save that. But they want to compete with you in this. Of course they do. So you're absolutely in the league, but you cannot win the prize, darling. No, you cannot win the prize.
Well, I've already got my shirt. They kindly bought it for me.
You've got your shirt. So the February Manager of the Month between game weeks 25 and 28 will win a Premier League shirt of your choice. As I said on the last stream, if I can get it, you can have it. Don't mind which one it is. If you want a Liverpool one, that is absolutely fine.
Green is particularly lovely.
The Spurs green is particularly lovely, but you can have whichever one you like. So if you want to go and support us as well as take part in the Manager of the Month competition, patreon.com/FPL Family. There is a link in the description below. Go check it out. And thank you to Mark, Aaron, Nicola, Lee, Chris, Kuhn, Joel, and all of you guys that have signed up in the last few days. Thank you very much for your support. Absolutely awesome. So get involved with that. We'd love you to do that. Oh, and the league code is on Patreon right now. So if you want to be in that league, the league code is on Patreon. It's in an unlocked post, so you need to become a patron before the post unlocks, then you can get the league code. We obviously won't be putting it on Twitter, on here, or anywhere else. It's only going to be on there for patrons.
And these guys did get a lovely audio file from you on Friday, didn't they, the patrons?
Yes, so that is something we're actually going to try and do a bit as well, actually. Yes, that's a good point. So what we're going to try and do on a Friday, either you or I, or if we've got a bit of time, we'll do it together. Do a little podcast. I think we can call it a podcast, can't we? Yeah, let's call it a podcast. So what I did on Friday, and this is just a little added bonus for our patrons, right? So as well as supporting us and being part of the Manager of the Month competition, you will get some exclusive access to podcasts that we're going to be doing every Friday. So we'll have a kind of FPL Family Friday Thoughts, I was going to call it. Is that a bit weak? I don't know. I couldn't think of a better name, guys. But FPL Family Friday Thoughts. And I did a little 10-minute thing about my team and how I was thinking and the transfers that I might be doing and my thoughts ahead of the games and stuff. So every Friday there'll be an FPL Family Patrons exclusive podcast on our Patreon site for our patrons. So
it's a bit like the fireside chats of American.
The fireside chats. That's what we should call it.
Well,
I love that.
Well, that's not my idea. That's what the American presidents used to do during the recession.
FPL Family fireside chats, except it's not by fire.
Well, it's because it was in their home, so they listened to it by the fire in their house. That's why it was called that.
There we go. All right. Maybe
it might even be me this week. Who knows? Talking some nonsense. But I must admit, I actually really enjoyed yours.
Did you? Don't sound surprised.
Well, it came as a bit of a surprise to me because I didn't know you were going to do it, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, what's this? I'm going to listen to this."
All right, well,
it was very good.
Well, there we go.
Listen to it while I tidied up the playroom.
If you want to get involved with that, there is only one way to do that, and that is either to go and subscribe to us on Patreon and get involved with us that way, or buddy up with a person that's already a patron and get them to send you it. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. You need to get on to FPL Family on Patreon.
Jeff wants to know if I'm in the league. Am I paying you every month? I can't win it, Jeff.
True. Yeah, true. So, yeah, you're sort of exempt. You're in there just for fun.
I'm just in there. I'm just in there to compete with you, Jeffers.
Just for fun. Right, we're on 56 minutes and we are rapidly running out of time. We've got to look at Liverpool, Everton, and before Joe goes and has his Abu Dhabi adventure, we need to talk about Watford as well. Liverpool then. Salah. Is he a bit lucky? Is he a bit lucky, Salah?
Well, I've got to admit that if my sub-keeper had saved a penalty against my captain, that would have ruined my weekend.
Well, listen, so I'm more than happy to have captained Salah this game week because I'm sure all of you that are on the captain Salah will agree. But that's no goals in open play for Salah now in 4 game weeks. I think Wolves was the last time back in, I don't know, when was that? Sort of mid-December, I guess, when he scored from open play. Should we be concerned about that, or are we just happy to take the FPL points as they come?
I don't care if it comes in off his back, off his whatever part of him he wants to put the ball in the back of the net. If it comes from open play, if it comes from the penalty spot, I don't care as long as there's fantasy points in my pot.
I think you're absolutely right. I still, guys, and I think a lot of us are getting onto Salah. I'm still not sure I subscribe to the essential thing.
Essential.
Do you?
Yeah,
he's
essential.
He's getting there, isn't he? He's very much getting there. And with the fixtures that Liverpool have got going forward, it's very hard to say he's not essential. I kind of look around a lot of the big hitters this game week, and Hazard blank, Aubameyang blank, Kane. Did I say Hazard already? Maybe Aguero. We've got to wait and see. Sané. We've got to wait and see. Nothing from Firmino. Salah's the only one that even got anything in the big hitters. So I think it could potentially is. We're seeing scores of 50, 60, maybe even 70 points. I mean, that is phenomenal in a game week where the big hitters aren't doing anything.
I just think that we spend a lot of time as FPL managers talking about players who we can trust with our captain's armbands. Now, Salah is the one player at the moment that every single week you can trust to give him the armband because he's getting points. And at that price, therefore, to me, that makes him essential because I can't at this moment trust anybody else to score me points every single week.
Yes, yeah, and I think I was, I was tongue a little bit in cheek when I was talking about him being lucky, and as you guys are saying, Dan's saying, make your own luck, and what else was being said there? So Sanchit was saying, not luck, he's a super player. Yeah, you're absolutely right, guys, absolutely right. I still think there is a case for not having him. But that case is dwindling week by week. It really is. Similarly, the case for Robertson or a Liverpool defender of some description. I think you need one. I think you need at least one. And I very much am thinking about the double up with Robertson and Trent. A player that I want to give a shout out to. No FPL points for this game week from Shaqiri. Although I did notice that he whistled a header just past the post. He was being his usual sort of creative self. And it's fair play to Brighton because they kept Liverpool out as we expected them to be resolute. So we got what we expected from Brighton. But going forward over the next few weeks, Liverpool will be playing a lot of teams that like to sit back. Klopp is going to need to use the Shaqiri key to unlock those defences. So I foresee, a few Shaqiri assists, potentially even a goal or two. When we play in the top sides or Klopp wants to control the game, you get Wijnaldum and Milner and Henderson and Keita playing there. But he plays Shaqiri when he needs a little bit of thrust, when he needs a little bit of ball over the top to Salah. And actually, the wavelength that Salah is on, I think Shaqiri's on it too. I think they're on the same wavelength. So I like Shaqiri. Nothing this game week in FPL, so he won't be on many radars. But guys, have a look at Shaqiri. I think he could be the key to unlocking some of those deep-lying defences over the next few weeks.
I'm very much in the 2 Liverpool attacking camps at the moment. Now, whether you do that by having Salah or whether you do that, I think you do it by having Salah primarily, but whether you do that through Firmino or Shaqiri, because I'm in a position now where Rashford, I just can't get rid of Rashford. So, and I don't want to get rid of Jimenez, so that means I can't do Firmino. And therefore, I've got to look for another Liverpool attacking option. And
you still
Shaqiri,
like Firmino? Is that still you've been punting him recently?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I just, how can I get him in? Unless Kane is injured. But then if Kane's injured, I'm going to go to Aguero. Okay. So then I can't find a way to get Firmino. So really, it would have to come from the midfield. And Shaqiri, I think you're totally right in what you've just said. And to me, he's one that's definitely worth looking at.
Especially in that price bracket where, people are starting to lose a bit of faith in Anderson, they're starting to lose a bit of faith in Richarlison. Most have got Pogba. But I think Shaqiri's one to watch, guys, one to watch. But I say that, I think if you want a bit of a differential for Liverpool that not many have got, or maybe one of the lesser-owned players for Liverpool, maybe get on him early. Maybe
he just makes you tick better. I've said that before, and he does.
Attacking wise, I think he does. Yeah, for me, I'm absolutely looking at a double up. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is way, way too good a value to not have right now. And there was a bit of a wobble pre-match. I don't know if you saw that. I think he stepped on the ball and maybe he was down for a couple of minutes, and there was potentially injury, but he got up and he played the game, and actually everything seemed fine. So at 5.2, with the fixtures that are coming up, the way Liverpool control games, guys, it just never. Brighton never really looked like scoring in that game. Not really.
Really nice
and the fixtures are great. I just see Liverpool dictating games and not giving any possession to the opposition. And if you haven't got the ball, you cannot score goals. Maybe famous last words, but the Liverpool double up in defence is absolutely on for me. It's absolutely on. And Alonso to Trent looks very, very good indeed. Let's move on to Everton. Digne, the star of that particular show, didn't look as if the game was going very far at half-time. And at 0-0, I think it was a half-time score, genuinely was sitting there shocked. Because again, we've done a lot of statistical analysis, as we always do as FPL managers. We've looked at both defences. Bournemouth shipping an absolute ton of goals. Everton looking shaky as hell at the back over the last 4 game weeks. 0-0 half-time. It's like, what the hell? Where's the goals? And eventually, Zuma, of all people, popped up out the blue to get on the end of the Digne cross. So, funny old game that, wasn't it? Funny old game.
Lee turned to me at half-time, didn't you? And you went, worst defences in the league over the last few weeks.
Yeah, what the hell?
What is happening here?
No goals.
Bizarre. And it was a strange game to watch, wasn't it? And it was
odd game.
Yeah.
The weather didn't help, by the way.
Oh, the weather
absolutely
was
tipping down, wasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely tipping down. So yeah, a couple of things to say. I think for me, Digne offers really, really nice value. He's in that price bracket where
he does.
Whilst I don't necessarily trust Everton to get clean sheets every week, although the fixtures are nice, so there should be some clean sheets in there. He is on set pieces, and he just always looks like he's looking to get a crossing. He's looking to get in the box. He can really cross the
ball, can't he?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Trippier from that, but he's very good at crossing.
He's always just looking. He's looking to be involved in the attacking action as well. He's not one of these defenders that's going to sit back and, he's going to get up there and he's going to be part of the play. So for me, he offers great value. I think, a few weeks back we were talking about Michael Keane and could he offer an alternative to Digne, and he is that bit cheaper. So if you are talking about freeing up money, Zuma is in there too, but I kind of feel like it's a bit bandwagon-y because he scored today. But
and you've got the Mina threat as well from Zuma.
Yeah,
I can't. No, don't go Zuma.
But you've got Keane, who is another alternative. I think he's 0.3 cheaper. Not necessarily going to get the same attacking returns that Digne offers.
Nowhere near, I don't think.
But if you're worried about the clean sheet and attacking returns for Digne he's going to get 12 points like he did today, then you could maybe cover half of them with Keane.
Not in a million years you go Keane over Digne. You got booked today. Attacking threat hardly.
But if you can't afford him, because some people will be looking to free up money to do Salah and all these other players, so having somebody like Digne, it might be that he's a casualty, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, well, Digne was 5th for crosses this week. Trippier, Fraser, Holebas, Maddison, and then Digne. And actually, he was top for BPS, so 48 BPS, a whole 3 points more than David De Gea. So the standout performer in that game. Absolutely the standout performer.
Little shout out to Jeffers for calling Calvert-Lewin as his Jammy Pick for the week.
Yes, very good. Popped up right at the end with a goal. Calvert-Lewin didn't start the game, but popped up with a goal right at the end. Thoughts on Richarlison? You're not a Richarlison owner. I am.
No.
He is testing my patience.
No, sell.
Well,
man's useless. Sell him.
yes, but
You've given him so many weeks.
But in another game, he gets goals, right? I mean, he got one off the line it looked as an Ake, by the way, who cleared it off the line, knew nothing about it. He just sort of hit his knee, and it could have easily, a centimetre the other way, and it skims off his thigh and goes in, and Richarlison gets points, and he opens the score, and he gets the match-winning goal potentially, and loads of bonus points. I hate to say it, but I think Richarlison has been more than a bit unlucky. And to be honest, with the fixtures they've got coming up,
You're going to keep him, aren't you?
I've got bigger things to sort out.
Oh, God.
I've got bigger things to sort out than Richarlison. Don't get me wrong, he is very much in the crosshairs of transfer out right now. Very much in my crosshairs for transfer out. But I've got other stuff I want to do, not least Alonso to Trent, which actually might free up some money to do something with Richarlison. But I think you've got to have Rashford. Like, Man United have got something like Burnley and Huddersfield at home or something next. You've got to have Rashford. And to that end, I'm probably going to have a stay of execution for Richarlison. On another day, he could have had points today.
On another
day, he could have had points.
Oh.
So there we go. That's my thoughts on Richarlison. I'm keeping for now. But that is mainly because I've got other stuff to do.
I look forward to another blank next week.
Listen, before we talk about teams, we're at 1 hour and 6 already. 42 seconds on Watford. Thoughts? Cathcart, deadly at both ends. Absolutely deadly at both ends. Another assist this season for Holebas. Foster had a particularly good game with 6 assists.
6 assists, did he?
6 saves. 6 saves. Yeah, he's the new Allison. 6 saves for Foster. Anything else to say about Watford, or is that 42 seconds already? It might be 30 already.
I feel like we should time it when we talk about Watford.
One player I will want to talk about is here we go again. Lee and his XG. Top for XG underachievers this week was Deulofeu. So actually with an XG of 0.7, so didn't get any points, but potentially could have done. Might have considered to be.
I actually really like
him
as a fantasy pick. I really like him.
He's a really good player, right?
He's one that's on my radar for fantasy picks.
Yeah. Okay. So no BPS, no points, no anything, but top for underachievers in XG. So Deulofeu, I have to keep an eye on him. Let's have a look at the Watford fixtures going forward from FF Scout just before we leave Watford, because we're well over 42 seconds. Burnley at home next, which looks very good indeed. Then Spurs away, which is very difficult. Brighton, Everton and Cardiff. So actually 4 of the next 5 look very, very nice for Watford. So if you fancy a punt on Deulofeu or Pereira or Deeney or
Liverpool
even Holebas, then yes, or we're going to it, aren't we? In Gameweek 28, we're going to that game. So yes, the short term looks all right for Watford. Looks all right. There we go. There's your 42 seconds, Joe. Hope your trip was all right to Abu Dhabi, and I hope you have a good break over there, mate. So there we go.
I'm so jealous of the sunshine and everything.
I know. Great, hey? Absolutely awesome. No time to even talk about Leicester versus Southampton, Cardiff versus Huddersfield. Not too much to talk about in those games, I don't think, other than if you really, really, really must have a Southampton striker, it has to be Shane Long right now, because there isn't any others. They're all injured or suspended.
And Pereira got another assist.
For Leicester, did he get another assist? He's playing incredibly out of position, isn't he? Absolutely great. So he's the one to have from Leicester, although their fixtures do look very, very difficult. So I wouldn't expect to see too many clean sheets
for another
Leicester
couple of weeks,
forward.
and then it's better, isn't it?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Let's have a look at our teams, guys, before we go. So here is my team. Have we updated? Is this updated? I don't know. Let's have a look. Overall ranks updated and stuff. Yeah, I think they possibly are. That's good. So here we go. 67, guys. A game week rank for me of 174k, which I'm very pleased about. Very, very pleased about. It's one of my best game weeks in a long time. In a very long time, actually. The recovery from game week 19 is still on. Game week 19, which shall live long in the memory as my worst game week ever playing FPL, where I dropped 200k places. I've had 3 green arrows since then, and this has been the biggest one. I've gone up from about 170k to about 134k, as it looks like there. No Man City, and I benched my Wolves players as well. So, Kane's got the flag already.
Yeah, it's been a
flag on Kane.
It was
already.
On literally minutes after the game finished. The flag.
Oh God, okay. So no Wolves and no City. So of course, guys, I'm expecting to take a bit of a hit. Of course I am. But I think unless we get I don't know, a 6-all draw with all of the big FPL assets doing something, then I expect still to be in green arrow territory. And the recovery is still on, up to 134. So I'm pretty happy with that in my game week. I didn't do a transfer. So I've got 2 free transfers for next game week. My early thoughts are Alonso to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Doesn't feel like a downgrade to me. If anything, feels like an upgrade. And then I will have, $1.5 million to add to my 1.1 that I've already got in there. Is it 1.1 in the bank? Yeah, 1.1 in the bank. So I have about 2.6 in the bank to do something with. Don't know what that's going to be yet, but it's probably going to be Ings to Rashford. Ings to Rashford. And that would give me, guys, a Man United treble up, which is exactly why I asked the question in the polls. Do I want Martial long term, as MU Fan TV suggests? Probably not. But if you're going to go into a run of games with treble Man United at any stage of the season, it's for these nice 2 home games they've got, is it not?
Yeah, but don't you want a City? I mean, look at their fixtures.
Well, I do. Yes, I think I do. But at the same time, I definitely want rid of Alonso, and I definitely want Rashford in. So the midfield is probably going to remain untouched unless I want to do a -4, because that's where my 2 free transfers are going to go. Alonso, and then Ings to Rashford. That's probably going to happen, guys.
I think I think my plan with Alonso is to hold him for another couple of weeks till Mendy's back, and then do Alonso to Mendy.
Mendy also will be back, which is also a very good pick indeed. Yeah, good pick as well. Absolutely. Rashford looks bang on form. The fixtures are great, so I think we've got to go with that. Also, how good are you guys at FPL, by the way? How good are you guys? Because look at this. Green arrows everywhere and a couple of grey ones. But look, the FPL Family live stream regulars have gone down.
Are the leagues up to date as well?
Gone down. See, unreal. So I think the leagues are probably up to date. We'll have a look at that in a second. Before we do, we need to have a look at your team. And we need to have a look at this overall rank, which is getting a little bit silly.
What do you mean?
It's getting a little bit... You know, you need to win this now. Do you know what I mean? You need to be aiming at first in the world. 70 points, guys. 70 points. With Jimenez to play, by the way. With Jimenez to play, 70 points. Game week rank of 98k. Overall rank of 7.4k, which is flipping amazing, to be honest. Every time I have a good game, I'm looking at my team thinking, oh, I've done really average this week. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking you've got 70, so I'm benchmarking myself against 70 and thinking, oh, I haven't done too badly. I've actually done brilliant. Game week rank of 100 odd K. But next to you, I feel like an absolute fraud. 7.4k. Absolutely unreal. Talk us through this team.
It's a 5k green arrow, so...
5k green arrow?
Yeah.
When you're in those sort of realms, is unreal.
I think it's about 5k. I think I was at 12k going into this game week. I think so. I might have been at 11k, but I was outside the top 10k anyway. This, I think, is my first time inside the top 10k that I've stayed, that I'm going to stay probably, because I've got Jimenez. So
you're in some serious leagues, by the way. Who got the assists? Gone down? Twitter League had gone down?
I know.
Streamers and bloggers, you're 4th in streamers and bloggers.
I know. I was winning that at one point.
Were you really?
Yeah, only for a day.
It's unreal.
For one day, I was winning it.
You're in the top 2,000 of PVAs. You're going to get a trip to Palace.
Can you imagine? Can I ask him if I can go to Wembley instead?
Yes. Sorry, I don't want to go.
I'm in your league, but can I go to Wembley instead of me, Harry Kane? Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's going all right.
Good all round.
Yeah. It's not too bad.
Early thoughts on a game week 23 transfer. Where's the problem in there? I don't see too many problems. But where's the problem?
My plan was this week to deal with Torreira as one of them. I've obviously got 2 because that's my strategy at the moment, is to hold every other week. So Torreira will be 1 this week, and then I don't know. I'm watching Alonso. I'm thinking about it, but I would quite like to do Alonso to Mendy when Mendy's fit. Okay. So I'm sort of waiting on that because they've said 2 weeks, but is it 2 weeks or is he a week further in? Then I don't know. We'll see. All right. But yeah, happy. I'm generally quite happy with them at the moment.
You should be. I think you absolutely should be. Some very good scores in the live chat.
Obviously, Kane is the other one, isn't
it? We do need to look at that. Yeah, I think we all need to look at that for sure. So let's have a look at some of the scores that you guys have got in here. Manahar says I'm 130 overall now. I don't know if that's K or if that is actually 130th place, which would be
amazing,
pretty phenomenal to be honest. Chris Spencer, I'm into the top 6k.
Amazing.
Spencer, that is absolutely fantastic. George Wade, I'm on 80 this week with Sterling to go.
Amazing.
This is why The FPL Family live stream regulars league is so difficult to get a green arrow in. Ian Hamilton, 538 in the world. Absolutely sensational stuff. Really, really good. The Gamer, I'm up to 870.
Amazing.
Goodness me. Karam is here. Patreon supporter Karam. I'm on 73 all out. Very good game week. Very, very good game week.
These guys are ace, aren't they? Look at that.
Oh, this is absolutely unreal. Anne O'Brien, 35k.
Why are these people even listening to us?
Goodness me. Andy Golf Pro, 75 with Sané to go. Excellent scores, guys. And I think...
And...
Go on.
I'm still in the cup.
Still in the cup. Absolutely sensational. This is what, round 6 of the cup?
I don't know. This is uncharted territory.
Oh, I don't think either of us have ever got to round 6
yeah,
in the cup.
because if the guy that I'm playing in the cup, I don't know, he's got a lot of injury problems.
Let's have a look. Who are you playing? Wacko FC. If you lose to Wacko FC, then big trouble. 44. Oh, yeah. You're sailing through. Absolutely sailing through. He's got Lovren for a start. Diop, third sub. Everidge on the bench.
So nice to still be in the cup.
Anyway, so listen,
Happy
I think you're going to be fine in that cup. Let's have a look at how you guys are getting on in the live stream regular
Wooden spoon, please.
Of which, by the way, you are 12th.
Am I?
You are 12th. That's flipping brilliant, by the way. Still flying the flag, high at the top. Blue Brazil, Ryan Foley with 65 for the game week. 65, which is pretty phenomenal.
Finished? No, he's City fan. Must be City in there.
He's got Sané to go.
We might be able to talk about Sané next week.
Who backing for some points, actually. Should be pretty good.
Yeah.
23rd in the world, Ryan Foley. Absolutely sensational.
Hats off to you,
Paul
Mr.
Wickett
Foley.
is up there, 74 for the game week, up to 363 in the world.
Facebook
Very, very
fame.
good. Classic example of playing FPL with your head and not your heart. A Newcastle fan, I'd be surprised if he's had Newcastle in his team the whole season. We shall see. Peter Stead in third. Mark Nunes, who's on one of our new Patreons for the last few days. Thank you, Mark, for coming and supporting us. In at fourth. And Richard Nyquist in fifth. Still having a very, very good season. All of you guys. Shuvik Liam, yourself, you, Sam Bonfield, in at eighth.
What?
In amongst Vidar and Chris and all of the elite.
Who said I was 12th?
8th, apparently. 8th in the live stream regulars. This is unreal. These are the we call these people out as the elite players, Sam.
Are you saying I'm an elite player?
I am saying that you are elite. Anybody that brings in...
Can somebody crop that and put it on Twitter? Just regularly tell
that soundbite?
Sam's in the elite. Every other week.
Someone will do that as well. Someone will do that. Don't say that, because someone will do that.
They'll bring back Maradona in that I'm dancing it as Madonna, saying Sam is in the elite.
Oh God, that's going to come back to haunt me. Sam, you are elite. Yes. Oh God. Here we go. So there we go. I think...
Wooden spoon, please.
Well, I think what we're going to do...
the game week's not finished.
The game week is not finished, so I don't think we can do wooden spoons right now. I think we will do wooden spoons.
Who's in the line for it?
Well, look, let's have
a quick look.
Okay, a quick look, because look at us. We're at an hour 17, Sam. Absolutely ridiculous. There's a 42 in there. Let's see, Cody Flynn on 42. There's a 45, Ian Wilson, who I'm sure has had a spoon before, Ian. I'm sure you've had a spoon before. Let's see. Here I am amongst the non-elite. Sorry, I just insulted Hannah and Neil Craston there. Sorry, Hannah and Neil.
Excuse me, you leave Hannah alone. She's my Spurs buddy. You leave her be.
Here I am amongst the semi-elite. Let's call it the semi-elite.
Hannah's in a league all of her own. You leave her alone.
Very good. 40 for Peter Gray. Having a tough week there. Peter, with 40. Who else we got down here? Let's have a look.
Jeffy's saying to have another look at the bloggers.
For Shanjuan. Okay, so it's looking like it could be 40. There's a 36 there. Is that 36? Oh no, 56, I think. No, there is a 36. Diraj. Diraj, who I regularly talk to on Twitter, having a bit of a bad week, Diraj.
Let's hope he's got lots of City then.
Let's hope he's got lots of City. Jeff is saying, check Sam's position in the Bloggers one now. So, this is Jeff's league. Let's go and have a look at Jeff's Streamers and Bloggers league. Oh, yeah, there we go, up to second. We'd only missed a Monday first, and by his own admission, when we met David, what did he say to us? He said, I basically live in the FPL...
he lives in the Scouts?
In the Scouts...
In the Scout Hut?
He lives in the Scout Hut, in the Scouts goals imminent stats table.
Yeah.
So, he basically is FPL Scout.
He's like your idea of like God, isn't he? Because he goes by XG and all of that malarkey.
He loves a bit of XG.
Yeah.
He loves a bit of stats.
How many behind him am I?
You're 9 behind him. Only 9 behind him. Let's see if he's got anybody to play. He's doing very, very well indeed, by the way. 5.2 in the season.
So
He's got
it's Sané versus Jimenez.
Sané versus Jimenez. Out of the two, I would back Sané.
You back Jimenez, wouldn't you?
I'd back Jimenez there, yeah.
Because I am elite.
Because you are elite. You are elite. That's why I back you, son, because you are elite. So there we go. David Monday, top of Jeff's Streamers and Bloggers League. But you, second. Josh from the Cheaters in third. Brett's in fifth with Jeff Dance from... he's from actual Premier League, isn't he? He's the guy that helps us in the Premier League.
Yeah, Jeff is, yeah.
So Jeff is in fifth, and then I'm down in 18th, which actually I'm...
Quite pleased with
that,
aren't
awful, is it? It's not awful. Maybe it is a bit. It's less than halfway. But nevertheless, you are second, flying the flag for FPL Family, which is absolutely sensational stuff. Guys, I think
polls.
We are about to do the polls. You're absolutely right. If you haven't had a look at the polls...
I think we are about to do the polls.
If you haven't had a look at the polls, go check out the polls. I'm going to put our Twitter page up here while you do that. The polls, and as usual, I'll be checking it in the usual nonsense FPL Family way, which is to look at it on my phone because I can't do it any other way. Hazard, Richarlison and Felipe Anderson. Sam, your responses to these. Hazard, buy, sell or hold, please?
I'd hold on Hazard just to wait and see if they get someone.
The guys agree with you. 58% saying hold Hazard, 37% saying sell, and only 3% saying buy. So it's definitely not bring in Hazard time, but hold 58%. Richarlison, I think I know how you're going to answer this. Buy,
sold
sell,
about 8
or
weeks
hold.
back. Sold,
proper sell. You say hold is the consensus from the FPL Family community. 53, but it is close. 44% are saying sell, so no one is buying Richarlison. 1%. There's one person buying Richarlison ahead of those fixtures coming up for Everton, but most are happy to hold, with quite a few losing patience. Felipe Anderson, of which you are an owner.
Yeah.
Buy, sell or hold?
Hold.
Hold Felipe Anderson. 51% saying sell. Sell Felipe Anderson. 51%.
That's why he's going to go down, isn't
44 saying hold and only 3% buy. So actually, of Hazard, Richarlison and Felipe Anderson, very, very few looking to buy any of those three right now. And actually, it's more of a sell or hold, with Felipe Anderson being a bit more of a sell and the other two being a bit more of a hold. Man United treble up, which I am looking at for next game week with Pogba, Martial and Rashford. A Man United treble up, Sam. Form and fixtures. So yes, of course. Are you crazy?
There's only 2 you want, so you're crazy.
So it's still a no.
But it's not...
That. Very split.
It's not because I don't think it's worth investing in Man United. If there was a third player that I thought was good, I'd say get 3.
Yeah.
But I think it's Pogba and Rashford, and that's it.
So the double is enough in your opinion, okay.
Because I don't think there's another player.
So you guys are pretty split on that. 51% are saying no and 49% are saying yes. So a very Brexit-style vote there. Man United treble up is you guys are very 50-50 on that. Very 50-50 undecided. So that just goes to show you that it's not crazy. It's not impossible. Half the people watching, which at the moment is about 130 people, think that Man United treble up is an option. It is an option. Well, there we go. On that bombshell, guys, I think we need to call it a night. It is 1 hour 22, and that is way over the time that we normally do. What we've been talking about, so waffling like no one's business.
We gave too long to Watford.
We did over the allocated 42 seconds for Watford. It's far too long, Joe. Don't come in here demanding 42 seconds of Watford. It won't happen again, guys. We apologise.
On Thursday, you will get 4 seconds of Watford.
40 seconds of Watford at best. Tops. Absolute tops. Guys, thank you for joining us as ever here on the FPL Family. If you're not following us on Twitter, there we are at FPL Family on Twitter. Leave us a like before you go. We'd love you to do that. And if you're new, go and hit that subscribe button. And for those of you that didn't get the little notification that we were going live today, make sure that you hit that little notification bell that pops up when you subscribe. Once it's got the 2 little things over the top that suggest that it's ringing, I don't know, that's when you've got notifications on. Doesn't look as if many of you guys got that notification, so we'll have a look this end and see if anything in YouTube has changed as to why that's happened. I've got absolutely no idea. But nevertheless, hit that sub button if you're new, hit the notify button. Check out Patreon as well if you fancy having a look at the FPL Family Manager of the Month for February. Patreon.com/FPL Family. The description and the link is in the description below. At FPL Family on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the middle of next week. Cheers, guys.
See you later, guys. Enjoy the game tomorrow night.